It's Shut Your Mouth Lounge, episode number 146. It's Addy. God damn it, Addy, talk! Talk to me! Where's the trigger? Alright.
Pollo.
Oh no! Kirby's eating Addy. Pink.
Hey.
And Alex. We're talking about, Steve.
Which
Steve
one?
From Smash Brothers, of Smash Brothers fame.
We're talking about our friend Steve.
Steve
Oh
from
yeah,
the Smash...
that guy.
We don't know which one. If it's the one that was on the podcast before, or if it's the one that's actually successful. That came out wrong, but you know.
We're talking about Steve from the Super Smash Brothers series. He's my second favorite character after Terry Bogard from the Smash Brothers series.
Oh yeah, I'm a big fan of Terry Bogard as well.
Oh, God, I love that meme, but at the same time, it kind of hurts, because for most people, like, Terry is now an iconic character. For a game, he's not... For a game, not from his franchise. It's real fucking wild to see people referencing the Buster Wolf, not knowing what game Terry is actually from. How do you feel about that, Addy? On some level, I guess you just gotta love that Terry's finally getting the respect he deserves.
I mean, it's either this or just freaking the Terry being region locked to Brazil. So,
all right. So we gotta talk about Steve and Smash, because this is. Would you say this is the biggest character reveal for the DLCs? I honestly kind of feel
Probably.
I feel like Steve is to Ultimate what Snake was to Brawl. Like,
Yeah.
Holy shit, they actually did it.
Right.
Which does not necessarily mean that you are happy about it. Because we didn't talk much, but after the initial reveal, you seemed kind of sour on the concept.
Not really. I was more voicing the opinions I'd seen elsewhere, and that everyone else seemed very disappointed with it. I personally, at this point, I've no more dogs left in the fight. I think the Smash roster is as good as it's going to get. Everything else is just icing on the cake now. I was surprised to see such a negative reaction for a character whose franchise has left a pretty significant cultural impact on the entire world since 2010, 2011. So
Yeah.
it seemed like a given that Minecraft would make its way into Smash Brothers in some capacity. I found it odd that so many people were not pleased with it or did not appear to expect it as I did.
Well, I have to wonder if there's like a generational gap thing going on here.
True, all the kids that played Minecraft as kids are now adults now, so
Yeah, I feel like
that could be.
I think that's the group that would be most vocally in favor of seeing Steve added, is like people who are around our age, honestly, for whom we were teenagers when Minecraft was a thing.
Right.
So for us, it's a little bit of a nostalgia, but the game's been around for 10 years and it's still kind of going strong, so there's a little bit of respect for that. But I think that then there's a divide, though, because Zoomers, Minecraft's a bit of an old game for them, and they don't really get it, especially in comparison to I almost unironically called it Fart Nuts. In contrast to Fortnite, a game where you can build and also shoot people in the face, and then do the towel dance on top of them.
Right.
And versus earlier millennials who would have been teenagers in like the late 90s, early 2000s, for whom Minecraft is still that game that kids play, you know?
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like there is a bit of that going on there. It also doesn't help that Steve's got a very awkward animation style, which it was intentional, and so does Mr. Game & Watch, but I feel like people treat Mr. Game & Watch special, you know?
Yeah.
And Steve's going to intentionally be animated very derpily because that's how he moves in Minecraft.
Right.
Oh, I think another thing is him getting 3 Echo Fighters is probably pissing people off.
Well, they're not Echo Fighters, or at least I don't think they are. Aren't they just skins?
Are they just skins?
I would have assumed as such.
Because for a little bit they showed that Steve has, like, all of his vanilla skins from the console versions, like the tennis ball player and the Scottish Steves.
I have not looked into that.
Yeah, that'd be curious. Has Sakurai already done his? I saw the reveal, but has Sakurai done his little gameplay talk yet?
I don't think so. I've not seen it. Well, I'm in the same boat as you. I've seen the reveal. I haven't seen any gameplay. Those typical gameplay videos that come a while after it.
Yeah. I gotta say, I'm actually really excited for this one because it's like, I was excited for Piranha Plant because it's weirdos and weirdos are always fun in Smash.
Yeah,
But I feel like Piranha Plant wasn't weird enough for me. And Steve looks like he's just playing an entirely different game than everybody else at the board.
right.
He's got building and crafting mechanics. Like, what the fuck is this? How is this Minecraftman doing Minecraft things? I also like that his down attack is doing the anvil thing because I love spamming down the down dives when I'm playing as characters that have them. It's like the #1 best tool of Pac-Man. Just throwing a fire hydrant.
Absolutely.
None of the
That's the only way
iconic
to play
moves.
Pac-Man.
None of the iconic moves for Pac-Man really hit that hard. You're all about the fire hydrant.
The fire hydrant isn't an iconic move. It's only not from the original arcade game. It's from oh bloody hell! What was the name of it? It was Pac-Man's World or something like that.
Yeah, there's a
Or
lot of
SNES.
there's a lot
Pac-Man
of
Land.
there's a lot of references to the point-and-click game in Pac-Man for Smash for some reason. Isn't this stage just straight up the point-and-click city?
Yeah.
It still astounds me they went with that instead of just the classic Pac-Man maze. Like, wouldn't that be the obvious one? With the ghost running around and everything.
Yeah, and they did make that stage for the 3DS version of Smash 4. And I don't know, I guess it wasn't very functional because they didn't bring it back for Ultimate.
Oh, that's weird, a stage that didn't come back. Oh, I guess
There are a few of those.
Oh, Pokey Floats.
Still missing Pokey Floats.
Yeah, the best stage.
Rest in peace.
I can see a problem with the Pac-Man maze in that the passages are too narrow. So maybe it was a little overly restricting on air maneuverability based characters like Pit.
Right. I think there could have been ways to make it work, but at the same time, the Pac-Man maze is just a box. So
yeah,
not a lot of options there.
It doesn't,
I suppose.
It doesn't help that a person technically can't be smashed off the side in that one, because Pac-Man, if you go off the side, you just come back on the other side.
Yeah.
They'd have to make, like, the screen just cut off for part of the maze.
Right.
It would get to be the kind of Mario Brothers 1 stage problem of, like, you need to smash in a absurdly specific area.
Yep.
Which I love the Mario Brothers 1 stage, but it's definitely a lot of silliness.
Mm-hmm. It's one of the best stages when you get those Koopas angry enough.
Oh yeah, just instill chaos.
Yeah.
I do distinctly remember pissing my family off quite a bit by doing that intentionally. So, I mean, Steve looks like he's also going to have one of the coolest looking stages, just in terms of, like, the sheer variety.
Right.
I'm always a fan of how the African savanna biome looks like in Minecraft, and I'm glad that one got in. I'm curious what kind of degree of interactability they'll have, because can they, like, break the blocks on the stage?
I'm assuming that you'll be able to break the blocks. I don't see why they wouldn't include that feature. You can already sort of it's already sort of implemented in the game with what is Kirby stage called?
There's like 5 Kirby stages.
The one with Wispy.
I don't remember that one at all. I'm just thinking of Meta Knight stage with the plane flying in the background.
Right. It's not Halberd and it's not the Fountain of Dreams. It's oh, good lord, what is that stage called? I don't know, but in that stage, on the two sides, there are little block pillars that will stack up over time, and you can break those. So I'm assuming the Minecraft stage will work in a similar way, it'll just take more than one hit to break the blocks.
Presumably,
And that's what I really want to see anyway. Because if you can't break the stage, the Minecraft stage, it's like, why include it at all?
Yeah. I mean, Sakurai was saying they already implemented block functionality for all the stages just to implement Steve, so...
Right. So there's no excuses now. Sakurai put in all the work. It should function perfectly at this point, you know?
Yeah, and I guess there'll be a question of, like, will the blocks already kind of be implemented for Steve, so Steve can do his unique mechanics around them?
Yeah,
So
that'd be interesting.
Will Steve have a hometown advantage on the Minecraft stage?
That'd be wild.
That'd be a unique thing. I can't think of any characters who would do that.
Yeah.
Some characters would have an obvious advantage on the Minecraft stage just because they'd break blocks faster. Like,
Right.
I feel like Bowser would just plow through most stages with the fire.
Oh, yeah.
Works for him, though. He is a big destructive dinosaur. Yeah. Now, what was there was something I was curious about, but I can't exactly remember what. If we think about it, we'll go back to it. So, Pink, you got anything coming out on your channel?
Not that I'm aware of.
Oh, so there might be a secret video coming out that even you don't know about.
Precisely.
Sometimes videos just appear on my channel without my knowing. I'm not sure how.
Right? It's wild, man.
Eddie, what you got coming out on your channels?
Jack shit.
Alright. I don't have anything
Who
coming out on
that?
my channel. And on the group channel, guess what we've got this week?
It's just the forest.
On...
Nothing else.
On Sunday, we've got The Forest. On Monday, we've got The Forest. On Tuesday, we've got The Forest. But wait, there's more. On Tuesday, we've also got Fighting Games R episode 14 for Uniclear. On Wednesday, The Forest. On Thursday, The Forest. On Friday, The Forest. And on Saturday, The Forest. We're really
Wow.
mixing it up this week.
It must be October.
It must be the spooky time.
Yep.
Nothing is spookier than being spammed the one series.
Nothing is spookier than the cannibals touching your ass.
I can agree with that.
It's a good thing Addie's already killed and ate all of them. We should have sent Addie more tartar sauce, then he would have worked through them quicker. Alright. Think, what you been up to these past couple weeks? This past week.
Just this past week. So I finished season 1 of Cobra Kai. That show is very, very good.
Alright.
It's got a lot of stuff going on within it. Because, like, I was talking way, way back previously, a couple weeks ago, how it's sort of following the former villain's story as a hero this time around.
Yes.
And it actually kind of flips midway through because you've got these two characters. Let me try to remember their names. I'm gonna write this down real quick so I can reflect back up on this. Danny, Johnny, Miguel, and Robbie. I want to say. Anyway, the series starts out where Johnny, the former villain from Karate Kid, is teaching Miguel karate. And Miguel's the kind of the plucky upstart that we're all supposed to cheer for. Sweet, innocent kid. And as the show goes on, he turns from the sweet, innocent kid into the villain. It's a villain origin story. And then the other side characters that kind of start off the series as the quote-unquote villains, they transition into the hero roles. So it's been a wild ride, and I really like what they've done with it. It's a very, very human show.
Ooh.
There's just a lot going on, and I've been nothing but impressed with it all. So I'm very tentative as I'm going forward with it because, like I said, there's so much going on. I don't know how long it's going to stay a good show. because it has a lot of potential to be a great show. It also has a lot of potential to fall right off the road and crash into the Nile River.
Oh no!
Yeah.
Into the Nile?
They've been doing a very good job of balancing it all.
All right.
Yeah. 2 thumbs up for season 1. I'm maybe an episode or 2 into season 2, and it's been good so far. So, yeah, I would honestly highly recommend it.
All right.
And what else have I been doing? No, I haven't been doing anything else really. I played Mario Party yesterday with my family, but that's it. And I've talked about that before, so there's no reason to talk about that again.
Which
It's
Mario Party?
You just get screwed over.
Which Mario Party?
What is it called? Super Mario Party for the Switch. I don't think it has a number.
The new one. Okay, so you have more than 2 Joy-Cons.
Yeah, we've got quite a few, honestly.
I'm going to be perpetually bitter about that.
All of them are drifting though.
Yeah, they are.
I did.
Miyamoto, you buy a new set of Joy-Cons and Miyamoto sneaks into your house at night and switches one out.
Oh yeah, you know it.
I did tell you guys why I'm bitter about that, right?
I don't think you have. I'm curious. I might have been told and just forgot, but I don't think I have.
So last year we bought that Mario Party game for my dad's birthday. And we popped open the game. We started up, and it says, normal controllers won't work. Every player needs to have a Joy-Con. Well, here's the thing. We only have 2, and another set of 2 cost you $60.
Yes, it does. Or more.
So, we bought that game for all 4 of us to play on my dad's birthday, and only 2 of us could play. Fuck off,
Oof.
Nintendo.
Yep.
Fucking selling your overpriced shit controllers that drift. Thanks, asshole.
Yep.
I know that Nintendo has this fetish for motion controls, and they just whack their own dicks viciously every time they think about it. But, like, would it have been that hard for them to just go no and stick with allowing regular controllers to work?
If only.
Actual controllers to work?
I wish.
Oh, no, I once heard the Switch described as Nintendo's come-to-Jesus moment. Where they realized, like, okay, we've been focusing on making these wacko toys and motion control things and weirdo experiments, and that's not really what people look at us for. They look at us for, like, the innovators in gaming with classic, good game design and all this. And we should go back to that. And the Switch, broadly speaking, did. Especially with a launch lineup like they had. Odyssey and Breath of the Wild are not very gimmicky games. In terms of the way Nintendo does gimmicks, I should clarify.
Right.
Breath of the Wild certainly had its share of gimmicks, but it was more the kinds of gimmicks you'd expect from Microsoft and Sony, not Nintendo's usual gimmicks, right?
Right.
So it's weird to see that every now and then there is a Nintendo game to remind you of what Nintendo was like 10 years ago,
Yeah.
Where it's like, here's this weird peripheral we thought would sell really well to 10-year-olds and 90-year-olds. If you don't have it, get fucked. So, And that was an unusually bitter talk for me, so let's move on so I can be more fun. I was starting to remind myself of Mike there, which is not good. Quickly, move. Quickly, move! Talk about something!
Anything else?
Shit! Eddie!
Yeah?
Yeah.
Quickly! I can
I
feel the
didn't do shit
micness
this
sucking
week.
up my soul!
I didn't do anything this week.
Oh!
I drew stuff, maybe. I
heard juiced up, and I was so confused.
Yes, I got really roided. I'm all shredded now.
Yeah.
My balls have shrunk like 5 freaking sizes.
You know those dank memes of the incredibly muscular bodybuilders sitting at the laptop and giving good advice? That's kind of what I'm imagining for Addy right now.
Yeah. I injected myself with steroids, and all of my fat just immediately evaporated and became muscle.
That's how
That's
steroids
how.
work.
That's exactly what I was about to say.
The muscles just eat the fat
Yeah.
inside your body. It's a horribly violent convulsion for a couple
Yeah.
moments, but then you're good.
Little known fact: steroids are actually crocodile. But
Oh no! Quickly, you must start eating other people to regain fat, or else the muscles will start eating your flesh. Anyways, what'd you draw?
Yeah, anyway. Monstacado. No.
No!
I mostly did thumbnail work, which is to say that there's a thumbnail for a video of us going up that y'all have seen that I spent 3 days making, which is the longest I've spent on a freaking picture. No, that's a lie. That's actually a lie. It's the second longest I've spent on drawing a picture. Because the longest one was another thumbnail that's coming out later this year.
Huh!
And the difference is like 4 days, because this thumbnail I was working on most recently took me 3 days to make. But that's because there's no like background and shit. So I only needed to focus on character art. And honestly, like a part of the character art was just like, does that look in any way, shape, or form similar to the thing I'm trying to draw? I suppose it is. Okay, let's move on. Because like once you move, like I actually I started watching a guy's WODs who does like freaking like 12-hour streams, and that's basically the only way I can tell how long it takes for me to draw. And I spent 4 hours drawing just like 2 freaking busts. And that's it.
Busts. Which kind of bust?
The good kind, I hope.
Well, the pictures from the waist up.
Bizarrely enough, I did have a thought in passing this week. A thought occurred to me. When you think about it, it's probably best to start off drawing porn, because that's probably the best way to learn anatomy, right? For drawing.
Yeah. Couple of naked bodies, you learn anatomy real quick that way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I really need to know how big of a human dick this dog has.
Yeah, get the dicks out.
I was going to say, especially if it's not even a freaking male dog, but I remembered Futanari exists.
Oh, Jesus.
Anyway. So yeah, the actual longest it took me to draw anything was a whole week, because that was with backgrounds.
Oh no.
And yeah.
Drawing sounds like it takes time.
Sometimes, yeah.
Taking time is for nerds.
I've got to assume that for like actually good drawings, like what Ping does, it would take a lot of time and effort. The only reason it takes me a lot of time is because I don't have a freaking draw pad, so I have to draw shit with a mouse, and that slows things down by like freaking 5 times. But yeah, so that I also am writing my own song, I guess. I don't freaking know. It's basically like a way to vent. But the funny thing is, like, instead of venting about, the things I dislike or whatever, it's a diss track to me. And I don't know how that works.
That sounds like a Kurt Cobain song, honestly.
Maybe. I don't know. It's like whenever I'm like freaking whenever I get whenever I'm in a low point in my freaking depression or whatever the hell, or whenever I get really mad, I just get the urge to freaking add to that song, and maybe one day I will actually finish it. But most of it is just like the freaking chorus is just whining, sometimes for comedic effect. So I guess I guess that's better, because some of the lines, like, sometimes I start writing my actual thoughts, and I'm like, this sounds so edgy that I might as well just go with it. And so I just add shit that I don't like. Actually, I add shit that I don't even necessarily agree with. It's just there because, oh well, I guess it fits. It completes the rhyme. But yeah, it's just like the chorus is just whining, and then the verses, aside from that, are just like me thinking of different personas and shitting on myself. So yeah, one day that will be finished, and then I will have to actually learn how to compose music so I can write the backing track as well.
I'm not sure what to say about that.
It is a fact of life, I guess. There is not much to add to it.
There's not a musical bone in my body, so mad respect to that.
I mean, there isn't in mine either. I'm just fighting against it, I guess.
Oh, I took my shot at singing. I did. I failed horrendously, but hey. Well, I was okay at the singing part, but dancing, oh boy, I cannot dance.
From what I've been told, I have a chance at being an alright singer. I'm not there yet because I don't actually train my vocal cords, but I have a chance at being an alright singer. I have really good rhythm, so I should become a rapper. That's what I've been told.
Ha! Yeah, you do sound like you could do that. That would be a bit stereotypical considering your heritage, but yes, that would. You do sound like you would be a good hip hop artist.
I mean, maybe. I mean, making jokes there. The verses I talked about are just different rap verses, so
Yeah!
I'm already trying.
Gangsta, baby!
Yeah. I mean, hey, maybe if I can finish the song fast enough, I will be able to break in as another freaking leader in the emo rap genre that's come out now.
Yeah.
Nice. I like it.
You better watch out, Billie Eilish, Eddie's coming for you!
Billie Eilish ain't even emo rap. Emo rap is like freaking XXXTentacion. I think he was emo rap.
Ah, okay, I don't know that much about Billie Eilish. I know 2 of her songs, and one of them's the Bond theme, so...
Okay, potentially controversial.
Bond theme? I thought she was like 20.
Yeah. Yeah, she's
Bond's been around for like 40 years.
Well, she's one of the youngest to do a Bond theme. She's doing the theme for the new one, No Time to Die. It is her theme is fantastic, by the way. I've got it on my Spotify and I listen to it fairly regularly.
Well, most of the Bond themes are fantastic, so it's good to know that she didn't fail at that.
I was about to say controversial opinion. I think Bad Guy is an alright song. Maybe even.
I think it's terrible. I've heard covers of it that do it in a way that it sounds pleasing to the ear, but I think it's terrible.
Right.
Fair enough. It's like I enjoy the simplicity of it, but I can see why people would dislike it. So
I like parts of it, but parts of it are new rap, and I'm just not hip to the new kids and all that.
Well, it depends on which parts we're talking about. There's the breakdown at the end, which I also dislike.
Yeah, that's the part I really don't like.
Yeah, same here. Like I like her flow. I like the backing track. How there's basically none. I know it's a weird thing to say, but I actually do like how the backing track is just, hey, here's like freaking one sound, and that's it, and we just repeat that rhythmically. But yeah, I like that part of it. I like her flow. I don't know about the lyrics. Some of it is funny, so I appreciate that. But yeah, and then the breakdown at the end is just so out of place. It ruins the song.
Yeah, you can tell that part probably came from whoever she was just sitting around joking with. It's a weird one to listen to because she's got a very good voice, but like she's not really Eminem in terms of rapping skill, you know?
Yeah. Then again, like we were supposed to make a musical show, but we decided not to because 1, the MCAs, and 2, because we would just disagree on basically everything. Like I think I'm pretty open about accepting the fact that my musical taste is weird, and I mean weird in a bad way.
I don't know. People can like what Like I can't really throw stones because I like, Marilyn Manson and I like Evanescence, and both of them are very goofy and very edgy,
How dare you?
And
I mean, I don't even mean it in an edgy way, but like freaking, for example, I just stumbled upon it by accident a couple of years ago, and I'm not into the whole scene of it all. But sometimes I feel like listening to freaking "How You Like That" by Blackpink, which is a K-pop group.
K-pop's very popular nowadays.
Yeah, K-pop is very popular. I don't consider myself a stan of anyone. I follow Big Bang, which is one of the biggest groups in the whole K-pop genre. I think like they're just under BTS now in popularity or something like that. But I don't freaking follow that shit because I have a life outside of K-pop.
Yeah, there's definitely a lot of Beatles-esque stuff that goes on with those K-pop guys that confuses me.
Yeah, there's like let's just say that K-pop stans are people that I don't want to piss off because I find them very scary.
Yeah, they find you in an alley, your face having bizarrely been cut off and then rearranged to try and resemble the lead singer of BTS.
There's like 13 of them. I actually don't remember how many members of BTS there is, but there's so many idols and so many people that they want to shine that sometimes they just put them in a freaking in like an Uber group. Like there was a whole freaking Japanese TV show I think about it where it was one girl group, but there's 100 of them. Like there's 100 members of the girl group.
Well, that must
That's
mean
a lot of members.
Maybe some of them get the day off. I don't know.
I don't know. All I know is that they uploaded a concert and the concert was well put together. It was enjoyable, I guess. I mean,
a lot of the K-pop groups really just remind me of like NSYNC or Backstreet Boys, honestly.
I mean that's what they are. They are the replacement to the boy bands because they are just boy bands.
Okay.
They are just foreign boy bands, literally.
It's one of those rare days when Alex actually makes the correct assumption about modern music.
Yeah. But like I listen to that sometimes. I listen to freaking electro swing, normal swing, just big band music, freaking like nu metal.
I appreciated jazz until I took a college class in jazz appreciation.
You.
Fair enough. I don't like most jazz. I think it's just specific genres of it that I like. Like swing can be fun, and big band music can sound okay, but then there's things like freaking Love, the Sinatra song, or I don't actually know who owns that song. I don't think anybody does. But
yeah, there's a lot of those songs that just made the rounds and were done by fucking everybody back then.
Yeah.
Yeah. I will say for my part, like, I don't know, I assume that this electro swing, based off what you've shown me of it, like, it sounds a lot more like it's actually put together and planned. What ruined jazz for me was finding out that the majority of jazz is not planned or concerted in any regard. It is they are just making it up as they go along. Which means there is, like, no real assembly to it or a grand scheme to it. It's just, what the fuck, I feel like playing this. Do-do-do-do-do-boo-doo.
Yeah, most of the genres of jazz that I listen to are actually like planned. So
yeah.
So yeah, like what else weird shit do I like? I don't even freaking know. You know how people have their like underground hip hop artists that they listen to. Yeah, I have that one too. Only he's Japanese for some reason. Who knows?
Well, you and Pink have zebra head in common, don't you?
Yeah.
Oh, Pink likes zebra head?
Yeah, everything's falling apart, man.
I didn't know that. All right.
I really wish that wasn't a song reference, so Pink could just be suddenly announcing, like, "Oh, my house is falling apart, guys." Damnedest thing, I tell you.
No, the reason I like Zebrahead is because sometimes the lyrics are so stupid it becomes like self-parody.
Yeah.
Like there's bloody hell, is it not? It's not in Czech. I forget which one. But there's a lyric. There's this big thing made about the lyric about slamming a door, and that's like his big retaliation. Like, oh, you made me really angry. You ruined my life. So now, just to show you up, I am slamming this door.
That
And
sounds like
that's repeat. Yeah,
that's a very teenage thing to do.
yeah.
I don't
That's
know. I'd go a bit younger than that. I'm pretty sure I was only slamming doors from the age of 4 to 6.
yeah.
Well, back then you did it just to prove that you could, because that was a sign of strength to a child.
I'm so powerful.
But yeah, like I have that song, whichever one that's in. I have that song on my Spotify playlist, not because I actually like the song, but because I find the fact that that's part of the chorus and is repeated as this big comeuppance moment. I just find it so freaking funny because it's just so petty.
Well, as we all know, true power is built from pettiness.
Yeah. Oh.
That's why I take a shit on my neighbor's front lawn every morning to let him know that I don't like him letting his dogs out all day.
And then you set it on fire.
Yes.
The neighbor.
Yes.
The neighbor.
Yeah, I think I got a step confused along the way, but I've got the spirit, and that's what counts.
Yeah. You know, thinking about it, I do actually have like a large amount of songs in my Spotify playlist or like Spotify liked playlist, just because of stupid reasons. Like, oh, this song it has literally no meaning whatsoever, just not at all. And they have come out and said, "Yo, we don't know what the hell we're saying." I mean, like I know that that's like most of Fall Out Boy as well, but at least with Fall Out Boy you can pretend.
I think all three of us would lose a significant amount of songs off our playlist if we gave a shit about the meaning.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Because, like, for me, you and me both.
There goes all of Nirvana.
Yeah, I was about to say we'll lose all of Nirvana.
But he did have a gun.
Oh man. I mean, didn't Kurt Cobain outright say he would write the lyrics that he actually wanted and then he'd intentionally muddy them just because he didn't want to actually have to go and sing personal stuff on stage?
Yes.
Oh, that's Kurt Cobain for you.
See what happens when you hide your inner turmoil, kids? Don't be Kurt Cobain.
See what happens when you marry Courtney Love, kids? Don't marry Courtney Love.
Don't marry Courtney Love.
A lesson for all children.
Don't be like Kurt Cobain. Be like Chester Bennington.
Oh no!
That might be worse.
Be like Lance Staley. Do a ton of heroin, stay inside your house playing video games all the day, and then just die.
Yeah, that sounds reasonable.
But also like there's one Johnny Poo song on my whole playlist. And I only have it on there because I like to imagine whenever that song comes up that it's like this, it's like on advertisement or like on intro music to the world's edgiest freaking version of Power Rangers. Because it's that cheesy.
I'm sure there was an edgy Power Rangers in the 90s, wasn't there?
There had to have been.
I'm not up on my Power Rangers lore, but I have to imagine.
I'm not too big on it either, but I did watch a couple of seasons. But I don't remember anything particularly edgy. I mean, edgier, I guess, but like there wasn't there wasn't bloody just the image.
Oh boy, the anticipation builds.
Because like of this song,
it builds.
But because
god damn it,
there's this breakdown in the song where the singer just keeps repeating, "I'm hardcore."
That does sound like a Power Rangers theme.
Or actually, I think the line is, "I'm hardcore, son of a bitch. You know I'm hardcore." so I'm just imagining that part. I was like the freaking the Red Ranger is waving around his like sword or wand or whatever they have as a tie-in toy,
and it's obviously plastic, cheap plastic.
Yeah. Yeah, but he's trying to look real threatening in his freaking like in his latex bodysuit and his freaking spaceman helmet with a plastic toy waving it around while yelling, "You know I'm hardcore." Uh, like that song is actually genuinely pretty bad, not otherwise, but like that image, the whole thing it conjures up for me of them freaking of that happening for 3 minutes. It's good enough for me to have it on my playlist.
Ha! Yeah, there's definitely times where you just associate a song with a certain image. Like, there's probably a good couple video game soundtrack or movie soundtrack songs I've got on my playlist that aren't that good to actually listen to. But, like, they fit the scene very well, you know?
Yeah. Speaking of video game soundtracks and listening to them, Virgil's theme,
Which one? He's had, like,
the new
7.
one, the new one.
The new one, yes, Bury the Light.
Yeah, Bury the Light. So what do you think of it?
I enjoy it quite a bit. It's like all Devil May Cry music, it's very much Pink's type, right? So if you're not into what Pink's into, then you're probably not gonna get it, but it is an enjoyable song in that way. It's not as good as Devil Trigger, but I enjoy it quite a bit.
Yeah, I feel like it's too much build up and not enough payoff.
Well, it's 9 minutes long, so
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, but it's not even that it's 9 minutes, because they could have made a 9 minute long song that just starts having energy in the last 3 minutes or something. But instead, from what I remember from listening to it, it's just 3 minutes of build up, a couple of minutes of action for when he goes into Devil Trigger, and then just build up again, and then the song ends.
I mean, if you're talking about like how it's going to be implemented in the game, they're almost certainly going to have it where it just plays certain parts depending on what you're doing, like it does with the characters' themes already in the game.
Yeah, but I mean, like the structure of the song doesn't make sense to me. Like how it starts slow, goes high, and then just starts slow again. Like it doesn't fizzle out. It doesn't do like a dramatic ending. It just sort of starts over.
Yes, it does.
And that's my biggest issue with it, because I did like the parts that they freaking showed in the trailer, but like I don't know.
It's definitely better than Subhuman.
Yeah, yeah.
That's not hard, but
think-
yes, it is better than Subhuman.
I'd say I'd also say it's better than freaking Crimson Cloud or
Yeah,
whatever it's called.
Crimson Cloud is not listenable unless you're used to it playing during V's scenes.
Yeah.
Once you associate it with V, you can put up with it a little bit better, but I remember when they first revealed it, way ahead of the game's release, I was like, what the fuck is this? It's a little too crunchy. It's a little too crunchy. I like Rob Zombie. I like some crunch. But this is too crunchy.
I was reminded of how, like, there's the band Five Finger Death Punch.
Yes. I do not like them.
And there's a band called, I don't know how known they are, but there's a band called something like One Foot Crunch or something like that.
Okay.
And whenever I read the second band's name, I mix them up. So they're the 5 Foot Crunch.
5 Foot Crunch. Okay. I thought you were about to say 5 Finger Crunch. 5 Finger Death Crunk. What?
5 Finger Death Feet.
He's got fingers on his feet.
Yeah, the toes.
Those
toes
are
are
toes, not fingers.
the toes are called leg fingers in other languages.
Leg fingers.
Yeah, I'm not
Not
joking.
feet fingers, leg fingers.
I'll be honest, that sounds horrifying. Feet creep me out.
Oh, look
All
at
right,
Mr. Not Idris Elba over here.
Yeah, now we're starting to get to know Pink's fetishes. He's not into feet. He's into animals.
Oh no!
Like, you say that, but we've known for a long time that Pink's fetish is much, much more tame.
Meanwhile, I'm only a furry, so.
Yeah. Ah, Christ. Anyways. So there's music talk for the day.
Yeah.
And somehow Pink didn't commentate on barely any of it, despite being the most, like, vocally inclined towards music out of all of us.
Well, I was letting you two discuss it, because you seem to be on a roll.
We didn't bring up Hall & Oates once!
No, you did not.
I am shocked that you did not get in there at some point.
Well, there wasn't really an opening, I didn't feel.
You dishonored their
intrude.
name!
It is dishonoring their name, but I figured you guys would get there eventually.
All right.
If you're wrapping up the music discussion, then yeah, I'm gonna have to beat you both over the head.
All right, let's keep it going. We'll get there eventually. Then, freaking, there is a band that I've been following for a while that I will have to stop listening to now, because there's this band called Kasabian. They make I don't freaking
Well,
know.
part of
how
that
to
name
describe-
already sounds a little dirty, so.
I don't know how to describe the music they make. Basically, the best way I can describe it is that I associate their music with cyberpunk. The whole aesthetic.
Dub grunge.
I guess I'm not knowledgeable enough on the electronic genres.
Yeah, that's kind of a weird situation there, because there would be a lot of music that people describe as sounding cyberpunk, and it almost always all sounds pretty different from each other.
Grunge step.
I think it's just a matter of the fact that there's not a good definition for cyberpunk yet. Some people call what is clearly science fiction cyberpunk. Then there's the more industrial cyberpunk, which is just technology built upon ancient relic.
So the thing just cut out?
No,
I was
stopped.
trying to figure out where I was going with that. What were we talking about?
The difference between, like, Blade Runner versus... I almost said Terminator, but that wouldn't be a good one. Well, Terminator's a bit more apocalyptic.
Yeah.
Blade Runner is definitely one of the go-to examples for cyberpunk, but I'm trying to think of another good one.
Judge Dredd?
Judge Dredd? I guess people could say Judge Dredd is cyberpunk.
RoboCop as well.
Yeah, RoboCop.
Those are both dystopics.
Right. And that's where the problem comes in with cyberpunk, because there's not a good definitive definition for it. I mean, a lot of stuff that probably shouldn't be considered cyberpunk gets thrown in there.
I mean, I would think with cyberpunk, it's like technology has overrun every aspect of everyday life. Whereas RoboCop, day-to-day life in RoboCop still looks the same for most people, but the police have gone fucking berserk. And, like, Judge Dredd, I mean, Judge Dredd, I don't associate it with that much of, like, technology, because it's kind of like that 70s, 80s British idea of the future, where there's lots of guns and industrial-looking stuff. There's tech, too, but it's also still very... It's got the distinctive 2080 style to it, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Like, cyberpunk I associate as a satire, but like a serious, dramatic satire, whereas, like, Judge Dredd is very clown shoes, you know?
I suppose.
I don't know. My distinctive image for Judge Dredd in my head is always the PS2 video game.
That's also the one I was thinking of, so... At least I think so.
The one where you can arrest people for having an illegal hamster?
Yes.
Oh my god, that's the best. I know that I know it got bad reviews, but when I played that game, it seemed awesome.
I never played it, but I've seen enough videos of it to have that be the image I see of Judge Dredd, because while I have seen some of the movie, I don't remember shit. So...
Well, I can tell you the game's definitely more accurate than the Stallone movie. The Urban movie, I'm not so sure. I've read 2 or 3 issues of, like, Judge Dredd's comic, and yeah, it's definitely it's very clown shoes. It's, you know, the poor are revolting and eating each other because they're not getting enough food. Judge Dredd shows up and arrests the whole lot of them for cannibalism and then says justice. So it's kind of that it's one of those weird cases of experimental morality in comic books where you're kind of posing that question with Judge Dredd of like, Dredd never really does anything bad himself, but everything that he does is in explicit support of a tyrannical regime. So it poses the question of like, does a person have to do bad things to be a bad person, or can they be a bad person by association? Because if you just look at purely what he does day to day, he arrests serial killers and terrorists most of the time and saves people. But he's still a functioning part of a really bad system. Anyways, there's Judge Dredd talk for the day.
Yeah. But so going back to go ahead.
I was just going to add one last note, and that I do appreciate different looks at morality in stories like that, where it's not really telling you Judge Dredd is a good person, or telling you Judge Dredd is a bad person. It just poses questions where it's like, what do you think of Judge Dredd? Anyways, carry on with what you were about to say, Eddie.
But yeah, so going back to the music talk, so we can get to Hall & Oates eventually.
We'll get there.
We got to play fucking Bacon Number here till we get Hall & Oates.
Yeah.
How many degrees of Hall & Oates does fucking Drowning Pool have?
I don't know, but yeah, so there's this band called Kasabian that I've been following for a while. And recently, I don't know how recently, I think it was a couple of months ago, it came out that the lead singer was a domestic abuser, and so he quit the band because, yeah.
Yeah.
So he's better than Dr. Dre was at the time, though admittedly Dr. Dre has kind of went on his way to redeem himself in the past couple decades.
I guess so. I don't know much about Dre's past.
He definitely did beat his wife, though he's also been very vocally ashamed of it since. So it's kind of one of those things where it's
yeah,
left up to interpretation whether or not you believe in redemption at all. Because, I mean, all three of us have some friends that believe in redemption and some friends that don't, so...
But do they believe in Red Dead Redemption?
I think...
that's the excellent question.
I think all of us only have one friend who doesn't believe in Red Dead Redemption.
Is it Arthur?
Arthur? Why won't you let me redeem myself, Arthur? Oh god, that still makes me angry how much that game ruined Dutch as a character, retroactively.
Oh, that game did him no favors.
No, he was such an interesting character in Red Dead 1, and then Red Dead 2, it's like, oh no, he's just a slime ball who wants money. Like, fuck, come on. Anyways, yeah, Kasabian.
Yeah, so... It's kind of a shame that the dude turned out to be an asshole. Or I guess like enough of an asshole, because he did at least get on his own accord.
It sucks having an artist you really like the work of do something like that, because it feels like they're taking something away from you.
Yeah, and the big issue is like the instrumentals will still be good because all of the other band members are still there, but he was the front man. He was the voice you hear. So.
I mean, you can hope they pull an Alter Bridge and, like, just go and make a new band with a different guy, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Like, I think we've all definitely got some experience there. Like, even just within music, like, I've got Led Zeppelin. I like a lot of Led Zeppelin music, but then I found out what I did about, I still can't remember if it was Plant or Page. It was probably Plant. And, what he got up to with young girls back in the day. And, like... And Pink, I'm sure you've got an example in music.
There are probably a few, yeah. Since I tend to like a lot of 80s music and a lot of stuff from the 70s as well. And that's when people were at their probably peak worst, so yeah.
At their cocainiest.
Yes.
And of course...
I don't know, cocaine, that made Bowie a hell of a singer.
It also made him talk about how cool he thought Hitler was, so...
Yeah, Thin White Duke. There we go. That's interesting discussion there.
Well, that one's one of those ones again where it just poses the question of do you believe in redemption? Because the moment Bowie got clean, he was like, "What the fuck was I doing?"
Right.
And I mean, all three of us are wrestling fans, and oh boy, is there plenty there!
Oh man.
I think the worst person I still listen to musically is Sinatra.
How dare you?
Look, I like big man music, and there's some stuff that you just can't get from anybody else because he probably took out most of the other people who did it.
Now that poses the question of like, where do you draw the line on some of these things, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So, like when you said that, I was like, did Sinatra beat his wife? And, presumably, but was there ever evidence? Because like somehow, for some reason, I don't feel like I actually mind a guy ordering mob hits so much as him beating his wife.
Because it's less personal. And
It is less
that
personal. That's weird. That is so weird.
That also the thing with the mob hits is that like we don't know how much of that was actually him and how much of that was just his freaking godfather who also happened to be like some famous mob dude.
Yeah, it's like it's kind of thing with all those guys. Is like back then, if you wanted to be anyone in Vegas, you had to have connections, regardless of how dirty you actually were. You know,
Right.
Yeah, and so it's a thing of like I don't know how I feel about the freaking his connections, but we can't prove anything, so I guess he's clean for now.
yeah,
For now,
innocent until proven guilty.
yeah. On the other hand, there's other people, like like grandfather of broadcasting or whatever the hell his title was, Bing Crosby. First dude to have a taped radio show. Like very vocally, not him, but his children. They're very vocal about being beaten.
Oh,
So I just, yeah.
Oh,
And
hello.
like, and with that, it comes to the thing of like, well, do you believe the argument of, that was just the style at the time? They wore on their freaking on their belts and they beat their children.
Yeah, that's definitely another thing of like, do you think a crime is more forgivable if it was done in a time where it was seen as normal? Which I think that there's probably a good bit of differing on that particular stance within this call alone.
Yeah.
Maybe.
Which, I mean, I'll go ahead and say that I tend to judge people of the past by the moral standards of the present, and that gets me into a lot of arguments with my family. I don't know what kind of history you guys would have with that.
I mean, I try to judge them both ways. So like, some of it I understand because, I just kind of assume that if I watch something if I watch something made by someone in the like 20s or 30s, then they will have been sexist, racist, and beating all of their family. But at the same time, if I find about it being true, it is still a disappointment. So
yeah,
it's also one of those things though. Like when you read about times like those, though, there are still people who work by modern morals and are still successful by modern morals. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
J.R.R. Tolkien was very ahead of his time in his views on race, and while Sinatra certainly had his prejudices, Sinatra did work to end segregation in Las Vegas.
Yeah, he did some good stuff. Some, not too much, but some.
He was notoriously short-tempered, definitely.
Yeah. The weirdest thing I've read, searching up anyone or anything, is how Sinatra's wife was like, "Yeah, I knew he was cheating. I didn't care. He he didn't leave before them, so why should I care?" Like, okay.
yeah.
There's
everyone's free to have their own opinion, but that would not fly for me.
I think there's probably a lot of casual adultery in old celebrities. I mean,
Probably.
I think a lot of them just led open relationships, more or less. Like, because the way they're describing that's just an open relationship, right?
Yeah.
Right.
What Sinatra's wife probably also went around, so I don't know. It's one of those weird. It's kind of a Hollyweird thing, or it's not even on like a moral basis. There, it's just the basis of like they work by standards that you and I would consider very weird. Because, like, all three of us were more than likely raised with some idea of monogamy, and probably going through life expecting that, right? All three of us would expect at some point to be married, and for it to be just a thing of, like, I'm not going to sleep with anyone else, you're not going to sleep with anyone else, right?
Right.
I mean, expect is a strong word. Hope is probably more fitting, but
There's expectations, and then, if the expectations are not met, then, you go to therapy or a divorce, probably a divorce nowadays, but it's just one of those weird things of, like, morality versus just cultural expectations, right?
Yeah.
Because, like, it becomes one of those things of, like, I have not been raised for, like, polygamy or open relationships, so the idea of entering into one of those sounds unpleasant to me. But, like, where adultery can have kind of a moral dimension to it of it's dishonest, so it's abusive towards others to say you're going to stick with them, but you don't, versus polygamy or open relationships where it's an open thing of, like, I'm not going to just be with you, which, like, culturally I don't get, but morally I can't really voice much opposition towards,
Yeah, things like these, my opinion is basically, usually, it's...
And this is not even getting into the religious aspect of it, by the way.
Yeah. But, like, my whole thing with stuff like this is, I don't care either way, honestly, about what other people do. But the people who are pushing for me to accept it and just being really aggressive about me accepting it, even though I don't care anyway, are annoying enough for me to dislike it on some level.
Oh, man. Yeah, it's one of the things you gotta kind of get used to in life is dealing with people, like, continually vocalizing stuff that you're already used to listening to, because that's just going to keep fucking happening.
Yeah, it's like...
I think I got broken by that one guy in high school who would always come and sit nearby me and ask me if I'd played Witcher 3 yet. I did tell you guys that, right? There was a guy I knew it. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so.
It's one thing to put up with it on the internet. I had it in person for half a year.
Yeah. Basically, like, with most of my any opinions, most of my...
Oh god, the guy was also a Rick and Morty fan. I just remembered that.
But yeah, like, usually with any sort of opinion on this regard, like freaking religious, political, whatever, most of my opinion is made up on, I don't like zealotry. I don't like when people are really pushy about their opinions, whether or not I actually agree with them.
Yeah, that's definitely a thing where, like, you'll encounter someone you agree with, but they just are so pushy about it. They're like, dude, shut the fuck up. You're making us look bad.
Yeah. Yeah, I used to be Christian. I know about it somewhat.
Oh, dude, you're gonna get that everywhere you go. That's religion is one thing that there's going to be always pushers. Always, always, always. From every angle. For every position.
Yeah.
Fifth Element.
Yeah.
The only thing I remember from the Fifth Element is Chris Tucker.
That's what I was referencing. I want all positions.
Oh no, I don't even mean like what he does or says. I just remember him, how he looked.
Okay.
Chris Tucker in that movie has a lot of dialogue that's very double entendre laden. And during some of the climactic action scenes of the film, it cuts back and forth between, like, it's been a while since I watched Fifth Element, but doesn't it cut back and forth between Bruce Willis fighting aliens and Chris Tucker sleeping with, like, 3 of the fucking maids that he's with? There's something like that. There's definitely a montage scene where it cuts back and forth between Bruce Willis doing something and Chris Tucker having sex with his assistants.
I don't remember, so I can't comment.
I was hoping Pink would jump in, because he clearly remembers Fifth Element better than I do to remember the positions comment. I remember that being a very memorable scene, and Pink's not saying anything. Alright, well thanks, asshole. Good for nothing.
Yeah, his mic is dead.
I was talking. I didn't realize I got cut out.
Left me hanging there real bad.
When did I drop?
Pretty well immediately after the positions thing, and I went on talking a bit, and I was expecting you to pop in, and you never did.
Okay, yeah, you were right about the scene thing where it goes back and forth between Bruce Willis and Chris Tucker.
Yeah, okay, I felt like I remember that as a very distinctive signature scene. I also remember Chris Tucker talking to Bruce Willis and saying, like, oh, that fashion choice is hot, hot, hot! He was probably the best part of that movie. Well, no, second best after Gary Oldman, but still.
Yeah, he didn't have a lot of screen time in that, shockingly, but yeah, he really stood out. With a character like that, though, I suppose it's hard not to.
Yeah. It's a film otherwise that's kind of a generic Bruce Willis action flick that I wasn't huge on, but him and Gary Oldman, I like both of them quite a bit.
The generic Bruce Willis action film also features Space Majima.
Yeah. Yeah, Gary Oldman does look like Majima in that movie. That is weird.
It's all coming together. Majima everywhere is commencing.
Oh no. Majima everywhere is pretty scary. Negan everywhere is getting scarier.
What's Negan doing?
Negan is now a Magic the Gathering card.
Oh!
Apparently the Magic the Gathering community is in an uproar because they apparently are really pissed because ordinarily they do like crossover cards apparently, but it's like just reskins of cards that already exist. So like they'd ordinarily Magic the Gathering would have like a card that's like, oh, a forest grows here. But they changed it so now it's a Godzilla card, right? But it does the same thing as the forest card.
Yeah.
But they did a crossover with Walking Dead, and there's a Negan card or something, and a Daryl card, and they're really strong, and they're not reskins of other cards.
Oh.
So if you want to play your pure Magic the Gathering game, and you want to stay competitive, which the competitive Magic the Gathering players confuse the shit out of me enough anyways. But if you want to stay competitive playing pro Magic the Gathering, I guess, you now have to get Walking Dead cards. Which I have to admit, as much as weird as I find the Magic the Gathering community, I understand them being pissy about that.
I can understand that as well.
Yeah.
That is rather strange.
Negan was a weird fit for Tekken, but like he wasn't as bad as that at all. Negan is oh god, it is still so weird to think of Negan as a Tekken character, but not only that, the fact that according to Akuma being in the story mode, the Tekken crossover characters are canon. So Negan is just canon there in Tekken.
No, not all of them. Not all of them.
Oh,
only Akuma.
Only Akuma?
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it'd be really funny for Geese and Negan to just show up.
I mean, Geese could be worked into it somehow. Akuma was worked into it somehow, so... but yeah, Akuma is canon to Tekken now, but he might just like. I wonder how they'll work about either him being in Tekken 8 or how they'll spin him being out of Tekken 8.
I mean, the thing is, Akuma's kind of a mercurial guy. They could really easily just say he fucked off after he fought Devil Kazuya and was like, "All right, I've seen the extent of what's going on here. I'm bored. I'm going back to Street Fighter."
Yeah.
Because, I mean, Devil Kazuya kind of is just the peak of Tekken power levels there, other than maybe True Ogre.
I mean, True Tekken Jin could be more powerful because we're building towards that.
Yeah, but like
freaking full control, super Saiyan God, super Saiyan freaking. What's the stupid one? Ultra Instinct Devil Jin.
Boy, supernatural bullshit in Tekken is stupid.
And I like it to some extent, and then I remember that it gave us eye lasers, and then I'm like, oh no, get it away from me.
Gigas was definitely the first one where I was like, okay, never mind, let's go back. Remove Devil Kazuya and Devil Jin retroactively, please.
Wait, Gigas is a thing because of the Devil Gene?
No, he's just another supernatural bullshit character. Well, excuse me, he's a sci-fi bullshit character, so...
Yeah, I was about to say, I thought he was just like a big robot, like Jack.
He's a Resident Evil monster, is what he fucking is.
Yeah.
Oh, Christ.
Yeah, there's two things that I really dislike about Tekken. Eye lasers and rage.
uh,
And when the two combine, oh boy.
Does rage help eye lasers at all?
Probably, I mean, it probably does like some percentage of more damage, like everything else.
Yeah, but eye lasers already do a ridiculous amount of damage, so it doesn't really hurt that much.
Oh, when was the last time you played Tekken 7? Because they did give more eye lasers to Devil Jim from what I can tell.
Oh, that's what the new move is that he picked up?
Well, one of them, yeah. Well, one of them is he can aim the eye lasers down for a hit on the ground.
Ah, okay, so it's a new stomp for him, okay.
Yeah, basically.
Well, that's weird.
I mean, I prefer this eye laser to the real one, at least.
I kind of feel bad for people who play Devil Jin just because they used to main Tekken 3 Jin. Because that character is getting weirder and farther away from Tekken 3 Jin with every game.
Yeah. But hey, you have Kazuya back, and Kazuya is basically what Tekken 3 Jin was.
True. And when will they fucking add Kiryu?
I don't know. People are saying that Kiryu is a possibility because there was a picture of Lee in front of Poppo in like the Tekken team's offices or something like that, or they posted a picture of the pictures of the images that they have on the wall, and one of them was Lee standing in front of Poppo.
Well, there is always hope.
Yeah,
There is not expectation, but there is hope.
I mean, I would be hyped for Kiryu alone, but especially for that street, Tenkaichi Street, because it has all of the major areas of Yakuza that you would immediately recognize, like Senna, whichever version of it they exists right now. You have Akiyama's freaking money lending service in the back of Senna, or actually, never mind, there is Senna. Wait, I'm confused.
Yeah. Does it have not Michael Jackson and not Steven Spielberg doing the Thriller dance through it?
Well, we've only seen one picture, and it seemed like modern Kamurocho, so probably not.
Sad.
Yeah, maybe that's a stage interaction.
Yeah, you can just throw Michael Jackson at your opponent.
I was like, I know it's expecting too much, but with only the like evil characters or the like more chaotic neutral, I guess, characters being added, like freaking Akuma to Tekken 7 and Geese, who is an antagonist and also
Geese is super evil. Like we talk about
Geese is super evil, but I'm not sure. Like Geese is super evil, but then there's also Orochi and Verse, and like Orochi and Verse aren't better villains than Geese, but technically them winning is more.
They're bigger threats than Geese.
Yeah.
Geese just wants to institute a criminal empire over one city. Whereas Hirochi is like, I'm gonna blow up the fucking world! There's a bit of a difference in threat levels there.
Yeah. But like, I know that it's expecting too much, but if they announce the Yakuza TLC, I would laugh a lot if it was actually just Majima.
I mean, Majima would be a wacky pick in the same way that Geese was a wacky pick, but it would be cool.
Yeah. And I feel like they could give Majima more funny moves. Like, you just give him Breaker. Just make Breaker Majima. That's it.
Well, hang on. What they need to do is have a unique match intro animation for Majima versus Negan, where they clash baseball bats.
Yeah, and the Yakuza title card comes up.
Negan, head of the Savior's family. There's just kanji in the background of Negan.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Negan's doing his usual stuff, though. He's like, I hope you got your shitting pants on. In very blatantly American English.
Yeah, and everybody was just laughing.
Oh, man. Tekken DLC is so expensive, but I really want to play Geese and Negan.
Yeah, I thought about asking for the $100 it would take me to buy the DLC for Tekken 7.
Sweet baby Jesus.
Like that's not even all of it. That's only the third for the first 3 seasons.
Oh boy, paying that much
Lordy.
for DLC. I hope I do have my shitting pants on.
But hey, I'll get Armor King, and Armor King's new design is really cool.
Well, that's
And
nice.
Most of the DLC characters are appealing. I'm not huge on Marduk, but other than that...
Honestly, the only two I dislike, the only two DLC designs I dislike that aren't the guest characters are Julia and Garyu. Funnily enough, the freaking pair.
Well,
I mean, Garyu's new design is okay. I'm just not big on the character. Julia I despise. Not even for anything because of her character, but because of how she used to fight against.
just not a fan of the Perfect Plex, are ya?
No.
The perfect flex.
Yeah, Julia's kind of a pro wrestler character. She has the Perfect Plex, Death Valley Driver, whole bunch.
Did you actually did
I
you watch
love
did you watch the videos that are in Tekken 7's gallery?
No, I haven't, but can you access the DLC characters' videos?
Well, you have the teasers for Geese and Noctis, so it's something. But if you watch the Pachi Slot videos, they actually give lore in the Pachi Slot videos. They tell you why Julia became JC in Tech 2.
Really? Even though Tag 2 is not canon?
It's not canon, but it kind of is. That's the weirdest part. I don't get it. But basically, the pachinko machines that they had a weird fixation on King and JC, and so you get a good bit of lore dump on them. And apparently, the reason why Julia became JC was because Michelle got sick and had to be hospitalized, and that's the only way she could pay.
What is Michelle's sickness? Immortality?
Yes, being off the screen for too long.
She's like 50 in Tag 2 and she hasn't aged a fucking day. Not that I'm complaining, but it's highly unusual for Japan to have a character above the age of 25 in their fighting game, so at least Michelle got to be there.
I mean, hey, we have the Williams sisters. They're a paradox. But
well, they didn't age because they spent the time between Tekken 2 and 3 in cryogenics. Remember?
Not really.
Yeah, it was Nina accidentally got frozen, and then Anna found out that Nina had been frozen, so she was like, I'll do it intentionally, and then she froze herself. Like an idiot. So that's why Nina and Anna are still 20, despite the fact that, chronologically speaking, they should be 50.
I see.
Because Japan refuses to have a woman be at least look above the age of 25. It is what it is. Like, I'm sure they'll have a similar excuse for whenever they finally bring back Jun, of like, oh, she hasn't aged because when she spent all this time as unknown, and spending all that time as unknown, she didn't age.
John didn't age because she spent all of the time between Tekken 2 and Tekken 7 or Tekken 8, whichever. She spent all of that time swimming in the sperm sac of True Ogre.
I was going to go kind of the opposite way and said she ate Ogre. We thought True Ogre ate her. No. After Paul beat True Ogre at the end of Tekken 3, Jun came up and ate him and gained his power. That's a reversal right there, ain't it?
Yeah. Either could work, but I feel like mine at least somewhat makes sense because in freaking like Scream, Skin the Aging Cream, freaking hell. In Skin the Aging Cream, they usually use, or like high end ones, they usually use like freaking like Discorded foreskin. So that's not a joke, by the way. I'm not lying.
Well, if it turns out that her, Bruce, and Horong, well, not Horong, Back, If it turns out
But
her, Bruce, and Back didn't age just because for some reason getting eaten by ogre causes you not to age, that'd be wild.
yeah.
I love how they undid all of Ogre's kills except for original King and Jun. That's the only two people Ogre actually succeeded in killing. Everyone else that they said he killed, nah, didn't happen.
Imagine if the Tekken 7's last DLC character is King 1. He's back.
He comes out with with an old person walker?
He's like missing a leg and an arm.
He couldn't pull those back out of Ogre.
And he's like really beat up, but he's still muscular. But you can tell that he's like 100. But
I feel like Tekken actually could benefit from having a one-legged fighter. That would actually be interesting. A Zach Gowen fighter.
yeah. I mean, the thing with stuff like that, though, is that they would have a hard time, like getting it right, and Honoda at least somewhat cares about getting it right sometimes. I don't know, because
I don't know. Bob's there.
Yeah. You cut out.
I said I don't know. Bob's there.
Well, yeah, true. but that was the whole thing about designing Shaheen with the Middle Eastern community, from what I remember.
True, I think that there's just a difference of like culture versus body types.
Yeah.
Because like with culture, there's more of an encouragement to be respectful and like get it right, because it isn't a cartoon. Whereas with Bob, it's like being fat makes him faster. Like what? Pink, do you remember Bob?
I do.
All right.
I remember Skinny Bob as well. He sucked.
Yeah. I like that they actually made Bob skinny and muscular, and he got worse.
My favorite thing...
Meaning that Bob's supposedly stupid theory of weight equals speed actually turned out to be correct. And every other Tekken fighter is inherently inhibiting themselves because they refuse to gain weight. Could you imagine if Tekken 8 comes out and all of the fighters are now obese because they learned from Bob?
I'd have to buy that one.
Back, I don't know when it was. I think it was like between Tekken 3 and 4. The United Kingdom PlayStation Magazine did release a thing about how Jin Kazama should be fat. So they even supplied a Photoshop that looked like shit.
Ah!
The best thing to me about Bob is because of how Tekken 7's customization thing sucks ass and has no options. The only thing you can make Bob is a neckbeard. That's it. Those are your customization options. Default and neckbeard.
Well, that's unfortunate.
Can't you put him in a onesie swimsuit?
I mean, that's just the halfway in between.
Ha!
So like they gave him freaking clown pants. That like it I don't know what the hell their intention with it was, but it's basically like wrestling tight. If you put like those freaking elastic speedos over it as well.
I see.
And so I thought about making it so it looks like he's in a freaking a tiny whitey. But then I made the tights part skin color, and it looked so rank.
Yes.
Just so disgusting. Then I didn't save the customization because I didn't want to chance getting banned by freaking just unleashing that on the internet in any form.
Here comes the next challenger, Naked Bob. Oh God.
It wasn't even naked Bob. It was Bob in his underpants, but just like if you do the color matching good enough, then it just looks so disgusting because it looks like he has freaking sausage skin. And I don't even mean that in the shade like with Hulk Hogan.
I was about to say, is he a real American?
It has the texture of a sausage.
Yes, so it is a real American. Fight for the rights of every man.
Yeah.
And fuck your best friend's wife.
Like a true American.
Slather your daughter's asshole with lotion.
Oh no.
And then give it the hose again.
Say that another wrestler is your best friend when you actually are jobbing him out constantly. Oh boy, making fun of Hulk Hogan will always be eternal.
Yeah.
It's far too easy.
Someday in the distant future, when we're doing Shut Your Mouth Lounge, episode number 3025, we are still going to be insulting Hulk Hogan.
Yep.
I mean, the thing is, once we run out of insults for the actual guy, we can just like get the freaking Kinect game for half a cent, and then that's all. Like, I don't know, 15 years of quality content.
You say that as if Hulk Hogan isn't going to continue embarrassing himself in ways that we can make fun of.
True.
All right. What have we been talking about?
I don't even know. Hall and Oates. Do the
Hall
Hall
and
and Oates.
Oates. I like Hall and Oates. I don't know what else to add to that, honestly.
All right, Hall and Oates, everyone. Okay. Eddie, you do anything else this week?
No.
Okay. I finished God of War 2. That game is very definitely where Kratos starts to take on the personality we all now know him for. There's a very amusing moment where he's going to kill Zeus. And Athena is like, "No, Kratos, don't do it, you're a monster!" And Kratos just goes, "I am what the gods have made me." And it's like, wow, that's a hell of an excuse, Kratos. I can do whatever horrible shit I want, because I can blame the gods for everything. And
If you can't handle me at my worst, you can't get me at my best.
pretty well, yeah. It's like I said, it's an improvement on the gameplay department, but it is a decline in the story department from God of War 1. The ending of the game is a massive plot hole. I've mentioned before that I hate time travel stories, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so spoilers for a game that is now 13 years old. God of War 2 is about Kratos is God of War. Oh no, Kratos is using his title as God of War to conquer all of Greece as vengeance against the gods for not actually helping him bring back his wife and kid. Zeus comes in and tricks Kratos into losing all of his powers and then kills him. The Titans use their power to resurrect Kratos so that Kratos can go to the Sisters of Fate and get them to change his fate. They say no, so Kratos locks Atropos and Lachesis in the past and then kills Clotho, and for some reason the Fates have a time machine, which Kratos then uses to travel back to the past, stop Zeus from killing him, and also stop Zeus from stealing all of his godly powers, kills Athena on accident. After legitimately, what it is Kratos is about to impale Zeus on his sword. Athena jumps in the way, Kratos impales her on accident. And Athena was the one god Kratos likes. So, Athena says, "I had to save Zeus." And Kratos, rather than blaming himself for accidentally stabbing Athena, rather than blaming Athena for choosing to jump in the way and get stabbed, Kratos just looks to the sky and goes, "Zeus!" And I'm sitting there like, how the fuck do you blame Zeus for that? Like, Zeus was the only one who didn't make a choice that led to Athena dying. But he does that anyways. And Kratos, so for one thing, okay, so then Kratos goes back to the future, to the Fates time machine, and he goes back again to the back to the past, and frees all the
Play
Titans.
some shitty games that suck ass.
To play some shitty games that suck ass. He'd rather have a buffalo take a diarrhea dump in his ear. He'd rather eat the rotten asshole of a roadkill skunk and then drink beer. Anyways, he frees the Titans from Tartarus, right? And it cuts to the present. And there's a lot of things that don't make sense here. Because Kratos has gone back to the past and freed the Titans and stopped Zeus from killing him. And Addy, you've played God of War 4, so you notice that Kratos has this rather gaping wound that's been stitched shut running down his chest, right?
Yeah.
That wound is from where Zeus impaled him and killed him with the Blade of Olympus. Kratos went back in time and stopped that from happening. But that wound stays there for some reason?
As a reminder.
Yeah. I guess. And even though Kratos went back in time and freed the Titans to start a war against Olympus between the Titans and the gods, the people that Kratos killed stay dead? So Theseus, Perseus, Clotho, they all stay dead? So, I hate time travel.
I can see why.
So where in all this does Kratos fight a coup?
God of War 3.
Ah.
I'll talk about God of War 3 in a second, but I just want to mention every time that Avengers Endgame, I know that there are a host of issues with the way Avengers Endgame handled time travel, but it's still the only time travel storyline where I don't look at it and think about it and have the moment from Austin Powers where he goes, but what if I run into myself and meet myself, but then cause myself to not go back into the past? Oh no, my eyes are going cross. I ran through Chains of Olympus. Chains of Olympus is a PSP game set between, well, it's a prequel to God of War 1, but it was released between God of War 2 and 3. God of War, by the way, has one of the most confusing series timelines. It's a problem. You gotta look up a fucking chart for it, which is a problem.
I've played one of the PSP games now that I think about it. I don't know which one it was. Might have been Chains of Olympus.
Chains of Olympus starts with the Persian invasion of Greece.
I don't remember it that well. I just remember the first level or something like that being on this, like it was a wooden it was like this wooden platform with the holes on ships, like the grates on ships. It had that. I remember that part. And there was a lot of mashing buttons, and that's basically all I remember from that game.
Oh, there's 2 portable God of Wars, so you could have either played Chains of Olympus or Ghost of Sparta.
It was one of them, yeah.
So, I gotta say there's some timeline confusion here. Because the main God of War series takes place over the course of about 22 years. So, Chains of Olympus is when Kratos is still in service to the gods. And it starts off with Kratos fighting off a Persian invasion of... Oh shit, what was it? Not Marathon, but one of the other Greek cities out there. Attica, right. Which... how... Did the Persians invade Greece more than once, Pink?
Yes. That kind of happened a lot.
Okay, because I thought the Persian invasion of Greece was like in the 500 BCs. But, which there was one there, right?
Yes.
But God of War is set in a time period where Archimedes has only just recently passed away, which is like 200 BC, isn't it?
I honestly don't know when he passed away.
Late enough that he was there for when they fought the Romans in Syracuse. I know that. So it's like 200 BC is when about the God of War, the Greek set of games, is supposed to occur. But you're fighting off a Persian invasion. But wouldn't Alexander wouldn't Alexander the Great have already taken over Persia by then?
Yes, absolutely.
Which, admittedly, I guess it could have been the Parthians, and Kratos just gives so little of a fuck about culture that he assumes the Parthians and the Persians are the exact same. And I gotta say, one of the very first things you do in the game is you get a boss fight against this Zangief-looking Persian dude. Like, straight up, he's got Zangief's body type and Zangief's face, Zangief's beard. He's got a little bit of Persian attire. You know, he's got a Persian helmet and a Persian toga. Or, well, kind of a drapery and pants. And you can tell that someone would be considered a barbarian by the Greeks if they're wearing pants. And he fights you with this big flaming axe, and he has javelins on his back. And I shit you not, he has a stand. And I was
Alright.
Yeah, and I was looking at this guy, and I was like, Why the fuck am I not playing as him? But when Kratos kills him, Kratos takes his stand. So in Chains of Olympus, Kratos has a stand. It's an Ifrit, but it's a stand nonetheless. And you can tell they're starting to run out of ideas for Chains of Olympus without trying to steal from the gods themselves, because they just start including lots of Persian shit in that game. Because you also fight a basilisk. But it's cool, so I don't really care. And that game has a really confused plot. The game starts off with, oh no, the Persians are invading Greece. And then you finish the tutorial and it's like, oh no, wait, the sun has disappeared from the sky and Morpheus is causing the world to be covered in dream clouds that are spawning nightmare monsters. Kratos, you need to go stop Morpheus and bring Helios back. But then it's like, no, wait, it wasn't Morpheus. Atlas somehow broke out of Tartarus by himself and kidnapped Helios, which took the sun out of the sky. And the game is very plot light. The cutscenes are very few and far between. You spend most of the game just wandering around Helios' temple. And then you get to the very, very end of the game, and you're at the Temple of Persephone in the Elysian Fields. And Persephone, honest to God, Persephone just shows up, and she goes, "It was me, Kratos! It was me! It was me all along, Kratos! You all bought it! You all fell for it!" And then Kratos kills Persephone. Which kind of takes the wind out of Kratos killing Ares in God of War 1, because that means he's already killed one god before.
Womp.
Yeah. Here's the thing. I got to that ending cutscene, that ending boss. For one thing, she instantly killed me because I couldn't figure out her boss pattern. It was all very sudden stuff. And I immediately knew I was in trouble because rather than sending you back to the start of the boss fight, it sends you back to before the boss fight. And,
oh no.
And that game doesn't have skippable cutscenes. So you have to watch a fucking 5-minute long cutscene every time you start the boss fight back up. And also, the port is bugged so that Persephone's final boss music does not play during the battle. And it's just silently Kratos and Persephone fighting in the fucking Tower of Tartarus as it falls apart. And it's this grand epic fight with no music. Just really quiet ambient sounds. And Kratos and Persephone both going, "Hua, hua, 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 hua."
That's awkward.
So around the third try, I was like, you know what, fuck this. I just closed the game. And I said, I'm just moving on to God of War 3. God of War 3 is a lot of fun. The gameplay has moved forward even further from God of War 2. It's definitely a lot more into, fuck it, we're just Western Devil May Cry, we better admit to it. So they added new stuff like air dashing.
Oh,
Which is very weird to play with in God of War, let me tell you. And increased combo mechanics, and more weapons that are actually good outside the Blades of Chaos. Because in God of War 1 and God of War 2, you did get alternative weapons to the Blades of Chaos, but they sucked ass, so you just stuck with the Blades of Chaos. By the way, I want to note, before moving on to God of War 3 fully, God of War 2, one of the weapons you pick up is the fucking Spear of Destiny.
what?
And it's just being carried by some random, fawn. And Kratos kills the guy and takes the Spear of Destiny. And it's just labeled, "It is powered by an unknown god." And I'm just like, wait, is it even a special spear before it stabs Jesus? I guess
don't think so.
I guess it's always been a magical spear, but it just somehow wound up in the hands of fucking Longinus. Some random Roman dude in, Palestine got his hands on it, stabbed it with Jesus, and it happened to be a magical spear? It was used by Kratos?
I'm so confused.
Yeah, God of War as a whole, the entirety of the Greek series has this awkward thing of, a confused mix of Greek myth with kind of Judeo-Christian ideas. And that's just part of it. But, to see them just straight up acknowledge the Abrahamic God. Oh yeah, Yahweh is definitely running around somewhere. Like, are we working off like a DC Comics hierarchy here, where there's the Greek and the Norse gods, and then above them there's the Endless, and then above them there's the Abrahamic god? Is that what we're doing here?
That's interesting.
Oh my god. Oh no, the weirdest part is God of War 2 is one of the final rooms you enter in God of War 2 before the boss fight, the final boss, is a room where it shows Kratos' future. One of them shows, Kratos will defy Zeus and fight against him. Then the next one is Kratos will call upon the Titans and wage an assault on a siege on Mount Olympus with the Titans. And then the third panel is Kratos is one of the three men who come and give gifts to baby Jesus.
That's going to be an interesting thing to see in God of War 5.
Yeah? Despite the fact God of War 4 is probably set after the birth of Jesus?
It would have to be.
That and after Kratos has to die in God of War 4.
What if they retroactively revealed...
No. Wait, I mean 6. I meant 6.
What if...
Because 5 is coming out, Kratos has to die in 5. And then in 6 he goes to freaking baby Jesus somehow, despite it being like freaking 5 million years after.
Wait, hang on. What if in the middle of God of War 5, Kratos is, like, Atreus asks Kratos, like, okay, so you killed all the Greek gods, and now you're here, but what'd you do in between? And Kratos is just like, I don't know, I met a really cool baby once. And I thought the baby was so cool that I just gave him some gold. Boy, I move in strange ways. Do not try to understand me.
Yeah, the thing about Kratos is that he's actually not as edgy as he was portrayed to be in the early 2000s. Kratos is actually a devout Christian. Somehow. I guess. I don't freaking know.
Oh, man. And, yeah, apparently that was David Jaffe's original plan. Well, supposedly, like, David Jaffe directed God of War 1 and 2, and then Stig Asmussen took over for God of War 3 and changed the entire plan, and directly said, oh yeah, David Jaffe's original plan for God of War 3 was, the game would start with Kratos killing Zeus and all the other Greek gods in, like, the first hour of the game. The rest of the game would center on him hunting down and killing all the Norse and Egyptian gods, too. And then the game would end with the shot of him and the other two wise men going to baby Jesus in the Granger.
That's a story.
Yeah. I gotta say, I'm glad David Jaffe did not get to complete his original vision. Like, that is such a wacky idea. Like, yeah. What? Oh, man. So yeah, that's wackiness of God of War 2. God of War 3, Stig Asmussen had a better idea for the ending of the Greek trilogy, which is an actual big climactic showdown between Kratos and the Greek gods on Mount Olympus. And that's what you get in God of War 3. God of War 3 is definitely one of the big cases of, like, they built up to a big finale and they actually met, and it kind of exceeded all expectations. Because for sheer spectacle's sake, God of War 3 is, like, God of War 3 is 100% from beginning to end, you know? The spectacle never really stops.
Yeah.
Which is the way you should end the trilogy, you know? I'm kind of expecting the same thing for God of War 6, honestly. Because God of War 5, Kratos is probably just going to kill Thor, and then God of War 6, they're probably going to do the same thing, where there's a sudden rush of, like Freya and, you know, Uller and Skadi and Ymir and Odin, and everyone is like, alright, Kratos, time to die! And Kratos is just like, no.
I mean, the thing is, unless there's, like, something in the Norse myth that they can pull up that will allow Kratos to change fate itself, I guess he could just approve Yggdrasil, but yeah, unless he can change fate, then it's already been told that he'll die.
I think they're going to pull something there, because, like, they did say that Atreus will kill Kratos. What? Okay, we should go ahead and say, like, massive spoilers for God of War 4 going forward in that game. So, like, okay, if you didn't want to be spoiled on God of War 4, the game did come out 2 years ago, so you probably should have been a little quicker on the trigger there, but there's multiple theories as to how Kratos can get killed and still stick around. The most obvious being
Force Ghost.
Force Ghost, like Athena, yeah. Idrisil, just pull another Kratos out of the timeline. And my personal favorite theory is one of the boards apparently. I didn't notice this when I watched the playthrough of God of War 4, but one of the fate boards that Atreus can read has Kratos as one of the honored dead that are pulled out by the Valkyrie for Ragnarok.
Oh.
So it could be that Atreus kills Kratos, but then the Valkyrie bring him back because they're like, fuck, we need Kratos to stop this.
They're like, he beat our asses so much that we just have to enlist him.
I feel like it'll be one of those. It's going to be one of those things where Kratos is like, I have done enough service to the gods. And then he just turns on. Like, especially if they pull him out to stop Atreus from causing Ragnarok. Like, I imagine Kratos' reaction is going to be like, get fucked, you stupid bitches. And he just turns around and punches Odin in the dick.
Hey, I'm just imagining if the Valkyries do it as Kratos. Like I kind of wanted the thing to be for us to be cut off where he's disagreeing with them and shit, and then jump cut, and it's the Valkyries running into battle, and Kratos is also in a Valkyrie armor.
Kratos already got Icarus's wings, so he's actually got a lot of experience flying with wings.
Yeah. Although what I'm saying is I want to see Kratos running into battle in boob armor.
I mean, that wouldn't be too unusual for him, honestly. His pecs are big enough.
Yeah.
And the Valkyries do owe Kratos a debt after he saved them all during God of War 4, so...
So boob armor, obviously.
I feel like that is going to be the big moment of God of War 6, is the Valkyrie changing sides and helping Kratos, because, man, the Norse gods are bitches.
Yeah.
Okay, so I gotta say with God of War 3, I think I'm probably halfway through the game. Because I've only got 2 out of the 4 unlockable weapons. I immediately like the first new weapon they give you. Because after killing Hades, you get his hooks. And they're a really fun weapon that's more crowd control-y, but like not as good at 1v1 damage. But they have 2 things that I am like, oh, these guys were super weebs when they were working on God of War. Because the Hades hooks, Hades doesn't attack midway through his boss fight that I was astounded by. He does the D-O-Re pose, and then chain shoot all over the place. And I was like, what? He's just doing a D-O pose? Imagine my shock when you get Hades hooks, Kratos can do that move, and Kratos does the D-O-Re pose.
Oh, I didn't notice that because last time I played through 3 was before I watched JoJo, so...
It's just straight up the D-O pose. Like,
Nice.
unironically.
I mean, he did already get a stand, so I suppose.
And when he has Hades hooks out, he gets a stand again. And more
I
than...
didn't notice that, but because the Hades' hooks were the weapons I used the most.
It's the super move. You know how in God of War 3 every weapon has an associated super move?
No, I don't think I ever used them, so that might be why.
Oh, for the Blades of Chaos, you summon a bunch of Spartan hoplites, and they stab the shit out of people. And for the Hades hooks, you summon a stand. And there is a specific section of the pause menu that is devoted to choosing your stand.
Oh,
You will pause mid-gameplay like, I would like this stand today. It's crazy. Like, God of War 3 kind of feels like the Devil May Cry 5 of the Greek trilogy, where they started to be like, fuck it, just give Kratos everything. In the same way that Devil May Cry 5 was like, fuck it, just give Dante everything, you know?
yeah.
So, you can feel the combo potential dripping out of every orifice. Yeah, that isn't a disgusting metaphor at all. Anyway, probably my favorite change for God of War 3 is, in God of Wars 1, 2, and Chains of Olympus, there was the magic system. Kratos has a limited supply of magic, and he can only get it by either opening magic chests, which there are like a limited supply of per level and you have to find them, or by killing Medusas. That's the only way you can refill your magic meter, which is, needless to say, not the most intuitive thing in the world. And it would be fine if there were only screen clearing super moves attached to the magic meter, which there are. Each of those games had a screen clear super move that was attached to the magic meter, and that's what you did most of the time. There are a couple of wacky ones that were pretty neat, like the Lightning of Kronos, which just constantly hit everyone in a certain vicinity, which was the ultimate combo tool. Because you could just slap that down and it would juggle an enemy for like 10 seconds without Kratos doing anything. So you can see how that's kind of a strong combo tool.
Yeah.
Problem is, Kratos' ranged weapon in every game was also attached to the magic meter. So it was kind of like playing Devil May Cry, but for every time you fire Ebony and Ivory, it spins a chunk of your DT. So you just don't use Ebony and Ivory at all. No gun for you. Which was really lame. It was the same for the Medusa head. The Medusa head was really good against certain enemies, but it was nerfed for God of War 2, so you didn't really use it, despite the Medusa head being a pretty cool item. Like, I mean, that's probably one of the iconic badass mythology things, right? Is cutting off Medusa's head and using it as a weapon, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. That I feel like also the fleece.
Thankfully, the fleece is just Kratos' parry.
Yeah, and then whatever makes freaking Heracles go insane and kill his family. That too. The Chris Benoit, we call it in the business.
Pink, help here. What is that?
What's
It's
up?
Hera. I'm pretty sure it's just Hera.
Oh, okay.
The thing that makes Heracles go crazy and kill his family.
Yeah, that's just Hera.
Oh, okay. Just that simple, huh?
Yep.
Which I think you do.
favorite God of War weapon is Hera.
Ha! I think you do kill Hercules and steal his gauntlets in God of War 3, so there's that.
Yeah, you do. I do remember that vividly.
I'm excited for that one. I want to see what the fist weapon looked like.
I didn't like them. They were too slow for me, but they might be a grab weapon. I forget.
They might be, yeah. It's when you're used to Devil May Cry has a similar thing with the punch weapons where it's like, oh, charge for bigger hits and stuff like that, right?
I don't know because, like, from at least from what I could tell with Dante in MVC3 and in DMC5, like his punch and kick weapons usually give him shit like freaking Chun-Li's rapid kicks.
Oh yeah, but there was also charge normals for that stuff, you know?
Yeah, true.
Anyway, what was I going to go ahead and say? I was going to say one more thing about... Right, okay, so the change I am most fond of is magic is now only used for, like, screen-clearing supers and crazy big stuff. So use magic to summon the Hoplites, or use magic to call in your stand when you have the Hooks of Hades. And there is now a third meter, the item meter, which is used for the bow and for, well, not Medusa's head anymore, it's Helios's head. Which is probably the most horrifying scene in the game, is when Kratos rips off Helios's head, and Helios's face just starts shooting sun lasers out of his eyes and mouth.
I forget, was it him or Poseidon, where you go into their perspective and you have to press the buttons or Kratos like pokes their eyes out.
Both Poseidon and Zeus, the kills are from their perspective.
So it was probably Poseidon then.
In Zeus's case, I've not seen Zeus's kill, but I've heard talk about it. In Zeus's case, they play it up as a thing of like showing how evil Kratos has become.
I guess they I feel like I remember seeing it back in 4 and that being played up as Kratos being evil, but maybe it was the case in both of those games.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I think in God of War 4, when you're on the ghost boat with Atreus, they show the ghost of Kratos and the ghost of Zeus doing the whole thing again. And Kratos is just like, oh, fuck, this is super embarrassing. And Atreus is just like, what? Let's leave.
Yeah, because they can't see the things that Kratos does.
They can't?
They can't. Everybody, like, it's weird because they see freaking I played through the game recently and I forget his Baldur. They see Baldur's ghost. They see Baldur reacting to the ghost. But then when Kratos starts talking to Zeus, then Atreus and Mimir no sell it. And by no sell it I mean they I think they even ask him what he's talking about. because they just don't see or hear Zeus.
But doesn't Kratos later on have to explain to Atreus, like, okay, yeah, my dad's Zeus and I beat the fuck out of him. He's dead.
Well, yeah, but that's because of something else and not because of what they see there.
Oh, I mean, I guess that can of worms had to be opened at some point anyways, because Mimir knew about it, so...
Well, not only that, but okay. Wait, we already gave a spoiler warning. So...
Yeah, fuck it, just go ahead.
But yeah, so on a point in God of War 4, Atreus gets a fever and just is out of the game for a bit. You have to deliver him to Freya,
Yes.
and then Kratos goes into Helheim for the first time, trying to get the shit to fix Atreus. And after that is when they have Kratos explain what he's done. I think it's either that or after freaking hell. It's either after that or whatever happens after they're in Helheim for the second time. But it isn't connected to what happens in Helheim because, like, once again, I don't know how or why, but it seems like Mimir and Atreus can see Kratos' visions. Because Kratos commands on Atreus' visions. Both of them see Baldur's visions, but Kratos has just Zeus talking to him. That might be the first time though, so maybe I'm just misremembering that one.
Well, I want to say that
yeah.
the first visit to Helheim when you see Zeus is when it's just Kratos and Atreus and Mimir aren't there. The second vision is...
I think Mimir is there though, still.
Yeah, but Mimir's on Kratos' ass, so he can't see what it is.
Yeah, he wouldn't be able to see it.
The second time, I think...
The second time, Kratos has a breakdown and just starts punching Zeus's ghost, from what I remember.
Well, no, Kratos' ghost starts punching Zeus's ghost, and real Kratos has a breakdown and just falls to his knees, I think.
Something like that, but...
I just watched this bit from the SBF playthrough the other day. It was something like, Atreus then goes up to Kratos and is like, what the hell are you doing? We need to move. And Kratos goes like, what do you mean? Do you not see the visions of me murdering my own father? And Atreus just goes, I don't give a shit, let's go.
I don't remember how Atreus responds, so it's like...
I think the implication was Atreus had already figured it out. Because Kratos very definitely acts awkward when the prospect of murdering your own father comes up.
Yeah, true.
You remember that earlier scene where you find out about the ghost who was killed by his own son? And Atreus just goes, who could be so evil as to murder their own father? I don't understand. Just what a horrible act. Such an irredeemable thing. And the camera just pans in on Kratos' face with an oh shit look.
Yeah, because your enthusiasm team starts playing.
Yeah. Pink, you missed out on something with God of War 4. I gotta say that. Man. God of War 3 was already kind of on that path of transformation, in a sense. And the path was already being laid for, like, weird turning around on Kratos and making him more, like... There was always that thing of Kratos being a monster, which they said in every game. God of War 2 was definitely the one that was the most sympathetic to Kratos being a terrible person. And being like, look at how awesome Kratos is for being a terrible person. Whereas God of War 1 is directly just telling you, Kratos is a terrible person. And God of War 3 is like, look at Kratos being a terrible person. And all the horrible things he's doing to people. And how everything is getting wrecked in Greece and it's all his fault. There is, honest to God, a shot where they just have Kratos looking down on Greece from Mount Olympus. And there are hurricanes, tornadoes, floods, swarms of locusts. The sun has been blotted out of the sky and there are thunderstorms over every square inch of Greece. And the game is just like, yeah, all this happened because you killed all the gods, dipshit. So, and then God of War 4 is just like straight up Kratos being like, I am trying to be a better person. Fucking help me here.
Yeah. Athena comes back as a vision to Kratos and she's like, I knew you would come back to me. And Kratos goes, you ain't paying rent.
Yeah. Yeah, Athena really expected Kratos to be like, you know, the boyfriend who came back there. And he's just like, bitch, you thought. That is still my favorite cutscene in the entire game. I absolutely love that one. Like, that is just entirely representative of Kratos' arc over the entire series.
Yeah.
Also, God of War 3 has fantastic graphics. It's probably one of the prettiest looking games of that generation. I say that because I was also playing at the same time Infamous, which I'm not going to talk about because I've already said quite a bit about it and I haven't got close to the end yet. And Infamous, graphically, did not age well. The people look hideous. And I just kind of forgot what that Unreal Engine 3 kind of plasticky look of people looked like, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people still look like plastic sometimes.
Yeah, it really depends on how much budget and time goes into things, I guess.
I don't know, because even with like really great games, like I don't remember which one it was, but there has been a couple of more modern games where I'm looking at a video or actually playing the game, which is what counts, the second one. But like I'm playing the game, and the lighting just hits the models just right to make it really obvious that they're actually just plastic people.
Yeah.
And
oh, the game I was thinking of that was real bad about it was Assassin's Creed 2, because I've been playing through that one.
I mean, yeah.
Ezio doesn't look terrible, but a lot of the NPCs do. Especially
most of the models look terrible because they are like freaking 12 years old.
Oh yeah, and it 13, I think. No, not 13.
No,
11. And not only that, the game was deliberately cutting down on quality for some of the models so they could fit, 60 people on screen at once.
Yeah, that's true as well. But yeah, like I'm still hoping that one day Ubisoft will figure out how remaking games works first, and then as a second step, I'm hoping that they'll remake the whole Ezio trilogy, because I would really like to play those games with modern graphics. But I mean, the Prince of Persia.
Yeah, it differs in terms of like things that have aged well versus things that haven't. Because animation in the Ezio trilogy doesn't look great, and people don't look great, but the environments look fantastic.
The environments look fantastic. The people don't look great. The animation looks realistic. It is more functional than it is good looking, but it actually looks more realistic than, say, Unity overall. Because I don't know how much parkour videos some people watch, but I have yet to see people jump like freaking 5 windows up a house. So
the parkour animations look great. I meant the combat animations.
Oh yeah, no, you're right on that one. I'm strictly the parkour animations are good looking. Most of the other ones are jank, yeah.
Which, yeah, I guess that leads into the next game, is Assassin's Creed 2. I have been playing through it for the first time. As I've mentioned several times before, I have played through Assassin's Creed Brotherhood, but I picked up the Ezio trilogy on PS4 when it was on sale. Playing through Assassin's Creed 2 for the first time. It's a bit interesting. It's definitely more of a slow start than Brotherhood. Brotherhood hits you with just a couple tutorials, then throws you to the wolves in Rome,
Because usually how shit like that is structured in those 3 games specifically is just how it would have made sense for Ezio to live through them. So the first, I don't know, like 9 freaking sequences in Assassin's Creed 2, you're just getting trained. The first 9 sequences are just tutorials that have all of lore in them, so you don't notice.
Yeah, because they keep being like, the Pazzi scheme, the Assassins, the Templars, and Ezio's just not paying attention to any of it.
Yeah, and then at the end of the 9 sequence, they're like, hey, welcome to the Assassin Brotherhood.
Ha!
Throw yourself off this building.
I mean, Ezio, I'm just now getting close to the end of Sequence 2, and Ezio already feels like an assassin, partly just because he's spending so much time with Mario, and Mario is very definitely an assassin.
Yeah.
I love Mario. I'm sad that he didn't get to be around for most of Brotherhood.
Yeah. He was kind of busy.
Yeah, true. I mean, that legitimately what Assassin's Creed 2 starts off with is, Montrageni looks like absolute shit because Mario's so busy.
Well, I mean, in Brotherhood, Mario was busy being under the ground.
Oh, yeah.
Like, that's the big difference, because, like, Mario is busy defending Monteriggioni in Assassin's Creed 2. Mario is busy being dead in Assassin's Creed Brotherhood.
Oh, man.
But, yeah.
The opening sequences of Assassin's Creed 2 are a little bit funny for kind of moral dissonance. Because Ezio is at his most stereotypical at the start of Assassin's Creed 2, definitely. Look at me, I'm Italian, I like fighting and the fight and fucking the women. Look at me, I'm such a playboy. And then you have a mission that's like, oh, there's this guy that's been cheating on his wife, go beat him to death. It's like,
It's not even the guy wasn't cheating on his wife. The guy was cheating on Ezio's sister.
Oh no, there's two missions. There's a side mission you get at the start.
The side mission. Yeah, I didn't do the side missions in Assassin's Creed 2 because they're not good.
No, they're terrible. All of them are just run up to a random NPC and he's like, beat up my friend. And then you come back to the guy and he's like, grazie, here's 500 florins.
Yeah.
Oh, man. Well, the funny part is beating up the guy for pretty well doing the same thing Ezio does to all of his girlfriends. And it's like, it's okay. Ezio works on it's okay for me, but not for the morality system, doesn't he?
Well, yeah, I want to reiterate. Early Assassin's Creed 2, hell, like freaking, I don't know, when I start liking Assassin's Creed 2 Ezio, like overall, like I think in the last 3 sequences he's closer to Brotherhood Ezio, so I like him in the last 3 sequences of the whole game. But like Assassin's Creed 2 Ezio is all of the bad parts of Ezio's character.
Yeah, and it feels like there's kind of it does kind of feel like Ezio is supposed to be an arrogant asshole before, his family gets slaughtered. And it does kind of feel like it's supposed to be a baptism by fire for him. But it also works out very awkwardly in that they never really tell you that Ezio's habits before he became an assassin were bad. It's just that they were things that people would assume to be bad, that he doesn't do so much after he becomes an assassin.
Yeah.
So it's kind of that weird thing of like, I don't know. It feels like they're portraying it as, oh, look at how much of a cool guy Ezio is. He sleeps with a ton of women, but he beats up other guys who sleep with tons of women. And then he stops doing that when he becomes more of a good person. So you're left wondering, like, was that supposed to be bad? And they just told us, look at this bad, cool thing?
I don't know. The one funny thing that I associate with 2, though, is a couple of years ago when Revelations came out, Roger Craig Smith was on a podcast. But yeah, he was on a podcast, and they asked him about his opinion on Ezio as a character, and how he felt when he got the script to 2, and even from what I remember, even he was like, I first read through like the first half of the script, and I was like, this guy's an asshole. I hate him. And then as he went through the game more and more, as he read the later chapters and shit, that's when even he started liking Ezio. But like when the writing is so bad that even the voice of the character dislikes the character, even though he's the protagonist, is supposed to be the good guy. So yeah, Assassin's Creed 2 was a very big major milestone for Assassin's Creed gameplay wise. The story ain't good. Story not really good, but
I do think it was a mistake for them to get rid of Vieri de Pazzi so quickly. I feel like if they would have kept him around as kind of a rival character to Ezio in the Templars, that would have been a really fun thing. If they made him Gary Oak's kid from Pokemon.
Yeah.
But
no, you mean if they made him Gary Oak because
oh, Gary. Okay, I forgot. I thought the doctor was named Gary. Pink, if you're saying anything, we can't hear you because I feel like that's something Pink would have commented on. There he goes.
All right.
Yeah,
His name was Gary the entire time?
I thought the doctor was named Gary, not this shithead son.
No doctor has ever had a name. They're all called Doctor. That
Yeah,
is a name.
the
It's on their
collective
birth
name of
certificate.
the collective name of all of the Pokemon professors is just Professor Wood.
Ah, I see. Now I get it. Yeah, I don't know. I will say about the gameplay, it reminds me a lot of Brotherhood. I mean, Brotherhood was obviously intended to be an expansion pack upon it, so, you know.
Yeah.
One thing I do find very weird, was it an edition of later games where when Kratos pounded on a guy with a sword for like an hour, that there would be an animation for when he actually kills them?
Yes.
Okay, because Assassin's Creed 2, when Ezio, when Ezio completes like his sword combo and works through all their health, he just slashes once and they fall over. It looks
Well,
it looks really lame.
yeah, I think back then in 2 they really wanted you to just do the counter kills. More or less, at least from what I can tell with how the game is freaking the combat mechanic is built. It just seems like they really wanted to hammer home the counter kills because those are the only things that have special animations.
Yeah, and just hammering on somebody for an hour takes so long and just begs for guys to smack you in the ass.
Yeah, so then in Brotherhood, they actually gave you ways to open people up, and actually, I don't remember was the kick 2 or was the kick Brotherhood?
Nope, there was no. You can't kick in AC2. Ezio doesn't understand how to kick yet.
Okay, because I do remember there being a game where I was like, where is the kick? Because it was just strafe.
Maybe Katarina Sforza introduced it to him on that night.
Maybe.
Here, Ezio, you can lift your leg like this. Oh, I should use this in a fight.
They were practicing CBT.
Yeah. That's what Ezio's into. Why do you think he mostly has to pay for prostitutes?
I'm imagining like a cut scene, like in freaking Yakuza 0 when Majima finds the breakdancers. But it's Katarina kicking him in the dick.
I thought you were about to joke about the time in Kiwami when Kiryu walks in on the all Yakuza tough guys who are diaper fetishists.
I don't know where that would fit. I mean, Rosa
Anywhere.
But yeah.
Oh man, I've not played Yakuza Kiwami, but I have seen that cutscene, and that cutscene is fantastic. It's nice seeing one of the few things that can genuinely shock Kiryu after his many years of being the world's weirdest Yakuza. Assassin's Creed 2 is an alright game.
Yeah.
There is one thing I think it has over Brotherhood that is real strong. Brotherhood, you are limited just to Rome, and Rome is a nice city and it feels very unique. But it's really cool being able to go on horseback and actually gallop along the roads from Monterigini to Florence to Tuscany and so on.
Yeah. That's basically the only thing I could raise for 2. That and I feel like I liked the Assassin tombs better than the Layers of Romulus, but that's also because the freaking Romulus armor looks like shit. So
there is one thing that I just thought of, and it's a minor problem, but it's one that was big enough for them to fix it in Brotherhood. It's really goofy. You can't take horses into cities.
yeah.
Like the horse just stops. Like, no, Ezio, I refuse. I am a proud horse of the country. I will not be subject to your city whims.
And then they just had no choice in freaking Rome, in Brotherhood because Rome.
Yeah. Like, the entire map is city. What the fuck you gonna do?
The weirdest part of Brotherhood to me, though, is there's this one bridge in the middle of nowhere, and it's the only place where you can gallop in the whole game. And galloping is also the only way you can make that jump, by the way.
Galloping is forbidden. Alright. I think that's pretty well the extent of what I've got to say about Assassin's Creed 2. And I don't believe I have played anything else this week. At least not substantively. So.
Bye.
Oh, well, there it is. I guess we can call that a podcast. We'll see you later, folks. Pink, you say something.
I couldn't. I was disabled.
Oh no, Pink, how will you ever recover? Alright, folks, we'll see you later. Blip.